Yeah, this is live radio, folks. It's really fun. I'm joined in the studio this afternoon by the production team from A Home in Paradise, which is a documentary that's in the process of being finished up right now. And we had the good fortune of being able to record a lot of the soundtrack in the studio here and on location over at Salida High School. And I'm joined in the studio by Lisa Martin, who's with We Are Chaffee, and under the umbrella of the Chaffee Housing, right?
Chaffee Housing Authority and Chaffee County Public Health.
Right, okay. And Sarah Hamilton, who was the cinematographer, editor, all-around exec or associate producer of the project. And Jenny. Julie, I'm sorry. We went live very quickly here. Julie Spear is the executive producer and director of the project, and I'm going to turn it over to her.
Thank you, Mark.
You bet.
Or maybe I should say Matthew. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. Well, we're so happy to be here. And thanks to Kahan for all of the support. So, as you mentioned, I'm Julie Spear Jackson.
Julie Spear Jackson,
I got married.
I'm sorry.
My company is Julie Spear, so
Gotcha.
everybody knows me as Julie Spear. Julie Spear Jackson. And I'm the regional film commissioner of Chaffee County. And I'm a documentary filmmaker here in Salida. And as you've mentioned, we've been working on this amazing documentary. And this film is amazing. It's called A Home in Paradise. And we're really excited to share it. And today we have several local musicians who are bringing their artistry to this tough subject. But first, we're going to talk about the documentary. And Lisa Martin, who's the Community Advocacy Coordinator for the Chaffee County Public Health. And you're the director of We Are Chaffee, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So tell us, what is We Are Chaffee?
Well, We Are Chaffee is a storytelling initiative. And the purpose of this particular storytelling initiative is to really create a positive narrative within our community and to create awareness around the health disparities here in our county. And when we create awareness, well, what comes next? Compassion and hopefully advocacy and change. So the purpose is really to create, through storytelling, a change in our community and keeping our community positive and keep it on a health track.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And I think you've gotten some great, I mean, there's the podcast, the Upstream podcast with Adam. Mm-hmm. There's the class that you do at the Colorado Mountain College with Sarah. So where did the idea come from to actually now go even another level in and do a documentary? I mean, where did that idea come from?
Yeah. Well, we're funded by the Colorado State Department of Public Health and Environment, the Office of Health Equity. And we've had this funding for quite a few years now. And the Storytelling Initiative came up, a few years ago. We started with individual storytelling, and that's working with individuals to share their stories in video format. And Sarah is our local instructor for that class here at the Colorado Mountain College. And we've done great work with that. We've expanded to add written stories. So we have local authors interviewing local people and writing up their short stories. And we also, as you mentioned, have a podcast called We Are Chaffee, Looking Upstream. And anyone in the world who has access to a podcast app can listen to that podcast. And it's really become pretty popular. So we've expanded and we're sharing stories. We want people to understand who Chaffee County is and the really diverse, interesting people that live here, and also the challenges that we have here. The documentary came out of discussions with the grantors at the state and our evaluators at the state, because we're trying to really focus on systems and policy change, and that's not an easy thing to do, right? And we're doing it through changing our community narrative. And so what we decided is that we would take a more focused approach, and documentaries are a really great way of doing that. So we've worked with a steering committee to help us really hone in on what that would be.
Yeah, and so we met through a mutual friend, and my methodology as a filmmaker has always been production by committee, which is not the way most directors work. I mean, most directors have a very clear vision, and it's their vision, it's their way. Whereas with me, it's about a steering committee, which you and the We Are Chafee totally embraced. And so maybe talk a little bit about that first steering committee meeting. So we didn't know exactly what the documentary would be. Like, people came together. There's almost 30 people on the steering committee. And we came together and went through this really cool process to come up with what the film was going to be about. And were you surprised, or thinking back, it was over a year now, like that first steering committee meeting?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've worked for Chaffee County now about 5 years. Before that, I worked for another governmental institution for 29 years. So I am very sort of government policy formatted in the way I do things. And when I met you, Julie, and started working with you, it was very, very different. You're much more creative. You have a lot of broad ideas. And fortunately, the director of Chaffee Housing Authority, Ashley Koppel, and Andrew Karlstrom, who's the director of public health, and myself, we're all willing to take a risk, and we're all willing to do something creative in the expectation that good things will come out of it. And so, yes, that first creative committee meeting was a little bit of a surprise. We worked hard to get a diverse representation of people throughout the whole community that were different from a socioeconomic sort of dimension, a cultural dimension. We wanted experts on housing and health. We also wanted experts on mental health and behavioral health issues. And so what we got was really a melting pot of people here within our community that met in this room, and we just had a great discussion about the issues in Chaffee County and how do we make a healthier community, and what are the issues we need to solve together as a community. And through that, this committee really had a lot to offer, because each person in that room had varying and very diverse personal workforce and personal living experience to share. So even though the We Are Chaffee team kind of thought, oh yeah, we want to do a documentary about this, it became the committee's decision. And so the decision was made through this whole discussion and directed by Julie, really, this effort, that our top priorities are housing.
And it was by far housing.
Oh yeah.
There was no question that housing was the number one issue. And then it was all of the sort of ancillary pieces. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt about that. But
mental health, behavioral health, and just the general socioeconomic divide that's growing and growing and growing. It feels like it's never ending, right? And so how do we address all of those issues in this documentary to help people really understand what's happening in our community and then move forward together to create change?
Yeah. And the housing issue is not unique to Chaffee County. I mean, this is happening across the state, across the country. I even met with a gentleman in Canada. He's like, it's happening here too. I mean, I think it's a global, it's an issue that a lot of communities are grappling with, and Chaffee County's there's a lot of great things that are happening here. But the steering committee brought the interviewees, the focus areas. I mean, it was very much everything, the themes, the vibe of the show, everything was led through that steering committee. And is there anything that what are you hoping that this documentary will achieve? I mean, you've seen many rough cuts now, a couple iterations of it. What are you hoping?
Well, I think part of it is the documentary itself, and it will create awareness, I know. And storytelling has a power to create emotion and compassion. So I know that is going to happen. The interesting part is, as a community, as Chaffee County, we are moving forward to create a toolkit, so a house party kind of toolkit with discussion topics. And as we show this film throughout the county over the next summer and fall, we will host discussion after that. And so it's more than a documentary for us in this community. It is a sort of instigator of discussion, an instigator of problem solving, an instigator of ideas from our community, because we want more input. We want to start this discussion and really keep it going in order to create really just a more compassionate, resilient, helpful community. You think of an example. If we have a lot of mental health issues and behavioral health, and we have people doing a lot of drugs, what is better? We can increase the services provided to those people, which is important, yes, and also we can work together to make sure that we decrease the number of mental health and behavioral health issues that we have through creating a more supportive and compassionate community. So that's really it. Like, we're kind of starting to, we want to just make people healthier from day one here, and feel better and feel supported. But economics is important, the whole gambit. And through this process, I've really come to understand that everything is so connected, and we're all human. We have more in common than we do differences, and that's where what it comes down to.
Yeah, there's a line in the documentary about public health 3.0 or 2.0, and it's like, what, for me as an outsider and as a storyteller, the fact that public health is taking on housing, it's like, wow, mind blown about really what health means and what being a healthy community means. So anyway, well, how can people learn about the film? How can they see it? Where do they go for more information?
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. So we have 2 premieres set up currently. And the first one is at the Salida Film Festival, and that's May 10th.
That's the world premiere.
World premiere, I know, it's so exciting. So we'll have a red carpet and a photo wall, and it's a premiere. So we're making this into a big deal because it is. And so we have that premiere on May 10th, and then followed quickly on June 5th, again at the Salida Steam Plant, will be a free community event. And that will show the film, and then we'll have likely we're working toward having a free dinner and a community discussion after that film. And we're currently in progress of having a couple housing fairs in August. One will be at Salida High School, one will be at Beebe High School. We're looking at the drive-in theater, we're looking at the Stardust in Buena Vista. So we want to have a lot of showings, public showings throughout the county coming up soon. And as I mentioned earlier, we will also post a link on our website, wearechafee.org, that has our house party toolkit that nonprofit boards can share, businesses can share. We can have local breweries show it to their guests, the whole gamut. And all we ask is that you fill out a survey afterward of, like, what did you discuss? What did you discover? Mm-hmm. Those kind of things, just to help us with our grant, and to make sure we are making a difference, to make sure the questions that we put in the discussion toolkit are working and really stimulating that conversation.
That's great. What's that website again?
www.wearechafee.org.
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa.
You bet.
Lisa Martin's the Community Advocacy Coordinator for Chaffee County Public Health and the Director of the We Are Chaffee program, and now, added to her title, the Executive Producer of A Home in Paradise. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa's going to be hanging out with us in the studio, but now we're going to talk to really my creative partner in this project and a person who's really brought the documentary to life. Sarah Hamilton is well known across Chaffee County. I think a lot of people know Sarah. Sarah's the associate producer. She's also the director of photography and editor for A Home in Paradise. And she's a filmmaker. And we met on a panel at the Salida Film Festival. And I'm like, oh, another lady. Let's work together. And then literally, in the last couple of years, like, Sarah and I have bounced around the state telling lots of stories. And it's been a pleasure working with you. And I'm so glad. I can't imagine being on this journey with anybody else. We've had a lot of great people participating and filming and offering great music to the project, but really thank you, Sarah, first of all, for being a part of it.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah. Well, so tell us your housing story. I mean, this is a pretty personal story for you, tackling housing.
Yeah, I mean, as Lisa sort of knows. One of our characters, Will, I feel like I've had a pretty similar story to him as a lot of millennials. Did seasonal work for a long time, lived out of my car while still trying to make documentary films around different communities. So trail work and caffing, like just living my 20s, traveling and trying to think about what I want to do and financial security, but still kind of bringing that thread of storytelling that I've always kind of been interested in. And I moved to Salida for a field supervisor job 7 years ago, I think, at this point, 6 or 7 years ago. And I was sick and tired of living out of my car, my pink polka-dotted purple Subaru. So I got a trailer for like $2,000 and parked that like behind somebody's house for $300 lot rent. No amenities really. Definitely illegal, but nobody has to know that. I guess I'm broadcasting this to everybody.
Everybody knows now.
But nobody
you know,
knows who it was,
There you go.
and I no longer live in that, so I can't be caught. And yeah, eventually I think I really was craving a little more, creature comforts, being able to have a freezer and a refrigerator and not having to think about, like what to buy, being able to cook a lot more, being able to go to the bathroom at night just because your toilet's just right there. So yeah, I feel like I've eventually came into a really sweet spot that had cheap rent and lived there for a long time and have really seen the rent prices here in Chaffee County definitely go up so much.
And even as we were filming, literally you're going through the same thing because your house was up, or where you had been living was up for sale, and where are you going to live? And
Totally.
so we were having this parallel, filming about housing and having housing really in our faces. So it was
Totally.
pretty amazing. And just telling, but really quickly, because we have some musicians to talk to.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited that this project, which is a beautiful creative endeavor, now has, dare I say, is it going to be all local musicians? I think
I think so.
it is
at
all,
this point,
it is
yeah.
all local musicians in the show. And several of them you play with. So just really briefly, how did you think about who to bring in?
Yeah, I actually met Bruce Warren, who I believe is up next, and who sang our theme song, which we'll be playing at some point. But first, he plays this song, "Poverty with a View." That's it's quite biting and very truthful of that kind of experience. I met him actually when I was in Durango doing trail crew there. I would go to an Irish jam, an Irish session basically weekly every Sunday, and he would come down for the Irish session, and I remember meeting him there. And then when I moved up to Salida, I went to a old time jam because there wasn't an Irish session here, and Bruce Warren was there. I was like, what the heck, this cool guy that plays this hammered dulcimer. And we eventually started playing music together and have been in many different band iterations.
That's perfect. And
Yeah.
what about Bill?
Bill, I met
And Bill's last name?
through Bill Hussey. Yes.
Yeah.
I met him through my friend Sam, who just happens to be, he's just like the most extroverted person ever and will talk to strangers. And I think he played a game of ping pong with them at the Vic, and they were friends. So he kind of became our friend too.
Yep. So Sarah brought both of them in.
Yeah.
And
he can play basically every instrument.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
no, it's pretty cool. Well, thank you, Sarah Hamilton,
Absolutely.
Director of Photography, Editor, Associate Producer of the upcoming documentary,
Thank
A
you.
Home in Paradise. And I'm excited to now share Bruce Warren. We're going to play Bruce Warren's song, Poverty with a View, which is not in the documentary. I really
But it
like
might be.
it. I could be in the
Behind
documentary.
the scenes. Who knows?
Lisa's going to have to listen to the lyrics and let us know what you think. But so here's Poverty with a View.
Will this be the world premiere on radio?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, away we go.
Bruce Warren. Original.
If you're part of the working class and every day you bust your ass to pay your bills, and you already know this scene here is nothing new. It's poverty but with a view in any mountain town in Colorado. No, that's not a solar eclipse. It's just the neighbors stacking bricks in their brand new high-rise. See that money flow. This scene here is nothing new. It's poverty but with a view in any mountain town in Colorado. Greedy greed is where it's at. Fancy cats are getting fat. The feral folks are running out of dough. This scene here is nothing new. It's poverty but with a view in any mountain town in Colorado. Play some.
So, we're going to have those on top of this
Wildfire takes our fresh air, big money takes our water. Well, I don't have the answers, but I know. Please vote. This scene here is nothing new. It's poverty, but with a view. Any mountain town in Colorado.
No, but it makes sense. So, any tips for you?
So the very least that you can do is tip those fine folks serving you. Appreciate their hard work and let your money flow. This scene here is nothing new. It's poverty but with a view. Any mountain town in Colorado. So if you're a part of the working class and every day you bust your ass to pay your bills, and you already know.
Wow, that love that song. It's exactly what the documentary is talking about. So I'm Julie Jackson, and director producer of A Home in Paradise, and with me in studio is Bruce Warren, the singer-songwriter of the song you were just listening to, Poverty with a View. Welcome, Bruce.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
So that's a pretty direct song. Where did that idea come from, Poverty with a View?
So I work at Natural Grocers, and I think I wrote that in 21. I can't remember who it was, but I just saw a friend or an acquaintance. How's life? And they just said Poverty with a View. So that just stuck with me, of course.
Yeah.
And then once I started thinking about it, it's pretty easy to write it.
Yeah.
Just looking at Salida and what's going on.
So what do you as an artist, how do you grapple with housing in Chaffey County? How do you see the problem?
Well, I am blessed because my landlady loves that I'm in her space rental and has not raised my rent. I've been there since 2013. So
Wow.
I'm very blessed.
Thank you, landlord.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Julie Bell.
No, there's a lot of great people in the community that are helping people like you afford to live here. I mean,
Yeah.
could you afford to live here if she wasn't?
I don't think so. I
Wow.
mean, I might, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we're doing this documentary, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, documentary is art, and with this project, we really wanted to include local artists. And the fact that Sarah brought you on, I'm like, whoo, and now your song is the theme song, which we have riffed off. We totally riffed off the song, and, now have all these little other instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, tell me about your inspiration and your music. Like, first of all, how long have you been playing?
I think this will be my 48th year. I started with guitar and, grew up in a musical family, but didn't really get serious until later on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so how often, I mean, you do gigs, I know. Like, are
Yeah.
you like, you're a working musician?
I am. Well, yeah, that's one of my part-time jobs.
Yeah.
I'm going to sing this song tonight well, not the one we just did, but Light Through the Window at Vino Salida with some friends. We're playing there from 5 to 7. So, I mean, inspiration's everywhere. A friend and I were taking a hike the other day, and the trail had a rusty gate on it, and we opened it, and the creaks and the moans. I had to record it. So I haven't done anything with it yet, but, you know, there's just inspiration everywhere.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, how is it now as a musician having your music in a documentary? Has this ever happened before?
Well, I found a piece of my music at the end of a film. I had negotiated with a fellow and then moved away, and then somehow went down a rabbit hole years later, wondering did I ever get on that film? I actually found it. My partner at the time, Liz, was playing a bowed psaltery, which is a very high pitch, and I was playing guitar. Anyway, I heard it on the end of this film. I thought, oh, that's a bowed psaltery. Oh, wait, that's us. We didn't get credit. I think I'd moved away in the meantime, and he probably didn't know how to reach me. But anyway, no, this is thrilling to be a part of this.
Oh, that's great. So tell me the different pieces that we've recorded, and we recorded right here at the Cahan Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what they are and instruments or anything about the songs, the style.
So Light Through the Window, which I think has kind of become the theme song, that line just came to me. I think I wrote that in 21 maybe or 22. But anyway, so with the big lockdown of 2020, for me, it really slowed me down, as it did everyone probably, or most people. And I just found myself having more time to write music, write songs, and thinking, I'm handling this pretty good at some point. Maybe I'm getting wiser, or maybe it's just the way I'm seeing things differently. Maybe it's just the way the light comes through the window. So anyway, it was just that phrase, and then I just wrote it.
Yeah. Well, and the lyrics of it, to me, is very much what this film is trying to do. It's like, take your shoes off, let's talk about our problems, and we'll get through it. Like, there's a vibe of getting through in it, and that,
Yeah.
it's
when
pretty
Sarah
cool.
first mentioned it as maybe a part of the film, it's like, I don't really see the connection. But of course, the more I sang it and really looked at the lyrics, oh yeah, that fits. We all have our trails that we choose to follow, and da-da-da-da. Anyway.
Yeah. And anything about the other pieces that were recorded?
Yeah, I recorded I played hammer dulcimer with Bill Hussey on guitar, and we did an instrumental of mine called Ponderosa Moonrise, kind of a jazzy little number. And I think I just played I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to listen to Light at the Window in a moment, but tell us how folks can follow you and your music.
Well, the best way is I send out a weekly e-blast of all the music I can find in the county, and they can reach me or they can get on that mailing list at BB as in Blackbird, PP as in ping pong, WW as in warbler 01 at hotmail.com. So it's BB PP WW01 at hotmail.com. It's called Music in the Valleys, and I send it out weekly. Of course, I include my own gigs on there as well.
Wow, that's a great public service. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's great. Well, let's thank you for joining us today. Bruce Warren, local musician, and his music will be heard on A Home in Paradise, premiering May 10th at the Salida Steam Plant at the Salida Film Festival. Let's listen. Let's take a listen to the new theme song.
Is this the radio debut for this tune?
I think I may have done it here once before. I can't remember.
Well, let's hear it.
Let's hear it. With fiddle, for sure.
One.
Once upon a time, I ran from my sorrow. I couldn't get away fast enough. And once upon a time, I chased every tomorrow, wishing, hoping, looking. We've all got our trails that we choose to follow.
I'm with We Are Chasing.
We've all got our lessons to learn. And there's always surprises, rise
talk into these mics, we want to kind of get right
Like an ice cream cone. Are you needing food or something?
snippy. Yeah, that should, come on. Back up.
Just a little.
You have to go with some ice cream cone.
There you go.
Okay. And Mark, do you want to see that? Yeah, so kind of scoot that way a little bit. Mark, just put the phone on. There you go.
That's up to you. So those will help you with your volume.
I was spinning in circles.
Not hearing you something very well.
No beginning, no middle, no end. I could not escape
We are not limited to the top of your hour.
Chat a lot. Yeah, well, definitely chat. Oh, well, it is what it is.
sadness comes
Basically, just answer my
Basically, we're just gonna chat. Yeah, just follow my lead. Yeah. Yay! And this song is only halfway through. It's 2 more minutes.
We don't have to play the whole thing either.
Well, if we don't, then it doesn't really matter. Does it matter?
No.
Do we want to stop exactly at 2?
No. We can go over. We need to stop at 2 for me to do station ID, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll be done.
Really? Okay.
Well, yeah, I think so. Unless you want to do an interview.
Interview you.
If you want to, but I mean, we can.
We can wrap it up too. Let's just play by ear.
Play by ear.
That's how this works. Okay.
glad this is a radio interview because my hair has been out of control for like 3 days now.
You got a face for radio, huh? Crazy. It was crazy.
Was you?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
So there was the director, keyboardist, standing up there. Kids so nice. Very cool. Very cool. Let's get about it.
Wow, that was Light Through a Window by Bruce Warren, the new theme song of A Home in Paradise, the upcoming documentary film, directed and produced by myself, Julie Jackson. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about that upcoming documentary, and I just am realizing that Andrea never came. We were going to talk to Andrea Cohen, but I'm just going to go. Sorry about that. I just am processing that there was one musician, Andrea Early Cohen, who's from Guidestone, is also one of the musicians on the project, the film, and she plays fiddle and is great. So you'll hear that. And anyway, we're now going to talk to two other musicians in the film, two young, very young musicians, actually. I was at my daughter, Sydney Jackson. She's here in studio with us. Let's say hi. Hello. Hello. I went to her band concert in December, and there was this young man playing this amazing instrument, and Caleb Vold is here with me today. Hi, Caleb.
Hi there.
Hi. So tell me, first of all, what is the instrument that you play?
So I play vibraphone, which is a mallet percussion instrument. It's not as common as some other ones, but it's just has a really nice sound, and I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So you had a solo at the band concert in December, and I was like, wow, that sounds like it would be really great in a documentary. And so I reached out to you through Sydney, and you've since provided many tracks for the film. So first of all, how long have you been playing?
So vibraphone itself, I've only been playing that for about like a year, a little over that. percussion as a whole, though, I've been playing for about 6 years now, so a decent while. But vibraphone itself, not too long.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. Well, we're going to open the door because us. Yay! Andrea just arrived. Have a seat. We were just talking about you.
Oh,
So it's
sorry.
perfect that you
Sorry,
just
I'm late.
no, you just came in right the perfect time. So wonderful. And is this the only instrument you play?
Not really. I play most like percussion instruments. I'd say I'm at least decently skilled with all of them. And then outside of percussion, I've been learning clarinet, kinda, a little emphasis on learning. But other than that and some projects with building instruments, percussion is my main area of skill.
That's great. And what's your musical inspiration?
It's kind of a lot of things. Sometimes a lot of the time I just write because it's fun for me to write and play things. And so, like, with the stuff I write, it's just kind of make sounds until it sounds great. But sometimes there will be, like, events or people that inspire some of my music. So, I don't know. It's kind of all over the place, I'd say.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, let's maybe can you play Mark is here in studio with us too. Can you play a little bit of one of Caleb's songs?
Sure.
And then we'll keep it as background music, which is what it is in the documentary, and we can keep talking. It's an amazing, light, subtle sound. I don't know, how would you describe it?
Vibraphone definitely has more of a bright sound, I'd say, for mallet percussion. Fun fact about it, it's actually usually tuned 2 hertz above regular concert pitch, which instead of being 440 hertz, it's 442 to give it like a slightly brighter sound to make it stand out in the band. But because of the sustain of it and like how long the notes last, I'd say it definitely can have a very like gentle, warm sound, similar to a marimba.
Wow, that was a great explanation, because I actually kind of geek out on frequencies. So 442, wow, that's pretty cool. That's good to know. All the different songs are at that same, I don't speak music, hertz, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Hertz.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really amazing. So how many pieces did you play for the film?
For the film, I think I had 7 or 8. I kind of lost track.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, it's really as a filmmaker, it's a wonderful sound for film. So how was it for you actually providing music for a film?
This was definitely the first time I've done anything like this, but it was really fun, I'd say. Like yesterday we had the official recordings done for everything, which was pretty fun because it meant that I got to play vibraphone, which I don't get to too often since I don't currently have my own. But I'd say overall it was pretty good experience. It's definitely kind of like opened my eyes of like, oh yeah, actually my music is pretty good for movies and stuff. And so that's like, since starting working on this project, it's like become more and more aware to me that this is something I can do as like something in my future.
Yeah, you definitely could. So what are your plans right now for after you graduate? I will just emphasize again for people if they're just tuning in, Caleb Vold is a high school student who's providing some of the music for the upcoming documentary A Home in Paradise. What are you planning on studying?
Currently my plans are to move to Michigan to go to college somewhere there. For like actually what I'll be studying, probably I'm thinking double majoring in something about music and then library science, and then going on to get a master's, because a master's in library science is required to work at the Smithsonian, which just seems like a really fun, cool job. But then I'd still be able to do some music stuff on the side, or maybe I won't work at a library or something, and instead I'll just do music stuff.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow. The fact that you even know about those things at your age is phenomenal. So libraries are one of the biggest providers of archival photographs for the historical documentaries that I do. So that's pretty cool. That's very cool. So I'd like to talk about housing. Like, and Sydney, I'd love for you to also chime in on this. Like, have you guys? You're both in high school. Do you realize that there is a housing crisis in Salida and in Chaffey County? Is this even something that you thought about before this film?
Yeah, I'd say I've definitely thought of it before. And like every year in middle school, I was in a different house because just like for one reason or another, oh, gotta find a new house now because this one doesn't work anymore. Or every once in a while, there's a better one, but usually it's just because one doesn't work, and so then it's like, okay, quick, we gotta find something else.
Mm.
I will say I've definitely thought about it before because when my mom went to go buy another house, anything decent was at least like $500,000, which is very, very expensive.
Yeah, it's the prices have gone up insanely. Well, we'll move to talking about Sydney, but first I'd love for you guys to tell me the story about one of the pieces. So Sydney Jackson plays clarinet on the film, but you guys work together on one of the songs. Tell me that story.
Well, I started off trying to make a sad song, but it just didn't turn out that way. And so we have this club called Performing Arts at School, and I found Caleb there, and I was like, hey, could you help me write this song? And when I say help, he wrote all of it, basically. And so I just played it. So yeah.
That's great. How did you write it? Like,
I use this program called MuseScore, which is great for like classical composition. It's what I use to write a lot of my music usually when I'm not like at a vibraphone actively writing anything. But Sydney told me about like needing help with a piece, and I was like, oh, I can try to make something. I've been told that I'm pretty good at making sad music before. But yeah, and so it was also kind of just a good experience for me in like experimenting with writing for non-percussion instruments, just because as a percussionist who mainly plays percussion, that's kind of all I write for most of the time.
yeah.
And I've been kind of branching out with like duets involving like me and then like a friend, and so some woodwind stuff, but then writing something that's only woodwinds was new, but it was kind of nice because it was sounds that I haven't exclusively used on their own before.
Oh, then the end result is amazing. Maybe we can play a little bit of, you know.
It's a pretty short piece. We could probably
Let's play the whole thing. Yeah, let's listen to this. Is Lost, composed by Caleb Vold and performed by Sydney Jackson. Lost. There you go. That was Lost. Very lost. Very sad. Tackling housing, the housing crisis. Well, thank you, Caleb. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job. So, Sydney, how long have you been playing clarinet?
Well, I started in 7th grade, so I was about 12 years old, and I'm turning 15 this year, so about 3 years.
Nice. So Sydney's been in several documentaries of mine. She had a cameo in the Colorado Experience episode on FibArc, and she was also in an episode on mountain biking. So you've been around films and TV because that's my job, but she's my stepdaughter. And so, Sydney, how was this for you playing music in a documentary?
It was really exciting because I've never really been able to get my music out to the public before, besides middle school and high school band concerts. So it was really exciting and fun.
That's good. I was very proud of you composing. There was the happy song was definitely easier for you. That one's called tell the story about the title.
So one night my stepmom texted me and she was like, hey, what do you want to name your song, the happy one? And I was like, I don't really know. And she was like, what about Found, since Caleb made Lost? And I was like, Lost and Found? That sounds great.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. So what you practice your clarinet all the time at home, and it's really sweet, and you're learning piano. Tell me about music for you. What do you love most about music or being in a band, or what's your inspiration with music?
My inspiration would just be like the community that I work with, because all of our high school students in our band, they're just so talented, and like all the new music that they make, it's just so inspiring to make new things with them, and like playing in the band with them is just so welcoming and fun to do.
Perfect. What's your plan after high school? Do you have one yet?
The plan for right now is to go to a college where I can continue my ski career and have like a hobby of music and art.
That's perfect. Some athletics and some creativity all combined together. Well, thank you, Sydney Jackson and Caleb Vold. And we also have 30 seconds, and we'll do a little station ID. You're listening to KHEN.
So I do need to let you know that you are listening to KHEN-LP FM in Salida, Colorado.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. That's great. Well, thank you both for being here. We also have another musician who's played, who's joining us today. And so with me in studio is Andrea Early Cohen, who's the executive director of Guidestone by day. By day. And I'm sure a lot of folks have heard you playing around town. Welcome to the studio, Andrea.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Yay. Well, tell us about tell us what you play, and just a little bit about your the musical side of your career.
Well, let's see. I guess I'm mostly a fiddle player, and I play both the violin and the banjo in for the film. So, and I've started playing music when I was 6. I guess I started taking piano, and then I grew up playing viola. I started when I was 8, and then switched over to playing traditional fiddle music when I was 18, I guess, and have been doing that ever since. Went pretty deep down the rabbit hole of traditional Celtic music and then traditional Appalachian music. And yeah, it's just kind of, obviously it's a major part of my life outside of my job.
Yeah. And so are you officially in a band, or do you play with bands, or what's...
Yeah. Well, my husband Matthew and I have a band called Big Meadow, and there's 4 of us in that band, and he's a songwriter and plays guitar, and so a lot of the music that we play in that band is originals written by him, and then some covers, I guess you would call us an Americana. And I play fiddle and banjo and sing in that band. And then there's the group like Bruce Warren and Bill Hussey and us that are sort of like this mix and match set of musicians who kind of all play a variety of different things.
And how can folks, do you have anything public or any way for folks to follow what you guys are up to?
Well, we have a sort of very what's the right word? Big Meadow has a Facebook page and also a website, and neither of which are maintained very consistently. So we're not great at the marketing side of ourselves, I guess. And I don't have a personal anything that's specific to my music. Only like my Facebook page, I'll like announce that I'm playing somewhere or something, but there's nothing like on the professional side of that I'm doing to market my own music.
No, that's great. And actually, that makes me think, Caleb, is there a way that folks can follow your music?
Yeah, there's 1.5, I'll say. One of them is kind of like the main one. I have a YouTube channel, and that can be found by just searching like at Secret Music from the Avarium, no spaces, in like your YouTube search. And that's just like where I post when I perform something or like something I write. If I'm like, oh, this sounds good enough to share right now, that's where I'll put that stuff. And then actually just like, I think this morning I was messing around with trying to make an Instagram just to kind of expand my online presence. And that can be just found by searching at SMFT Avarium.
Perfect. Yeah, so the musicians are more creative and they don't like the marketing side, but
I don't know. I need to take a note from the current high school generation of how to get music out in the world. It's pretty inspiring, actually.
Spotify. Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Well, this, our documentary, A Home in Paradise, hopefully will help get some of the music out beyond the local community. Why don't we listen to, it's kind of fun. Your story is a little similar to Sydney's I was like, can we play something a little bit sad? And Andrea's banjo is very happy.
Yeah,
and,
nothing sad about that.
It's not sad at all. Like it's the best of Americana. And but you did manage to very much on the fly improvise a pretty amazing, I think, a pretty cool song, which you named Dismay.
Oh, I guess we did name it that, didn't we?
We did. We named it Dismay. Well, you named it. You named it Dismay. Because, tackling housing, I mean, the film itself is very, I think, inspirational and uplifting, but we are talking about a pretty tough project or a tough subject. Do you have Dismay?
I do.
Let's listen. Take a listen. So that, you can bring it down a little. So that's in the film, in the background, playing in the documentary film.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Julie, you're just like, play something sad. I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
Well, I think it turned out pretty well. But with the art of film, then you couple in the voices and the visuals. It's a mood.
Absolutely. So it was fun.
But you've been in documentaries before.
Well, yes, the one that you did once before for the Hutchinson Homestead in the Hutchinson Ranch for Colorado Experience back in 2019 was when the filming was happening, and then it premiered here in February of 2020. Yeah, before we had to close the whole site down for the summer. But but that was really a neat experience to get to be a part of that with you out there.
And I feel like we've up leveled because that we just filmed you at the Hutchinson Homestead Learning Center. We just filmed you and filmed you playing,
sitting there.
Yeah, and now for this for A Home in Paradise, we actually filmed in the studio, and there was several musicians and. Mark here from Kahan was helping us, so we're very grateful to Kahan for all their work with that. Well, before we go, I'm just curious if you have any thoughts around housing in Chaffee County. This film is kind of tackling a tough subject.
Yeah,
and I don't know, just how is it how present is it either with people you work with or in the community? Any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when our Matthew's and my earning capacity was always a little bit lower than the actual housing prices, even when we first moved here. And then even as our earning capacity grew, so did the housing prices. And now it's highly divergent. And so we still rent, and we've lived here since 2007. And we have a lovely rental situation, but we, still, and at this point, don't even really look so much anymore because it feels so prohibitive. And I don't know if that's perception on our part to a certain degree, but I think that a lot of that is reality. And what I see a lot with especially through Guidestone and the fact that we bring in AmeriCorps members every year who are looking for housing opportunities, and they're not necessarily long-term situations, but it's really challenging. We've got an AmeriCorps member right now living in an RV camper because that's what she can afford. And she's excited about it because she's been a thru hiker on the Pacific Crest Trail and the Appalachian Trail and stuff. And so this is an upgrade, but at the same time, when we're trying to bring people into our local workforce who are really fabulous and have amazing experiences and a lot of enthusiasm and really want to be here, but then they start looking for housing and they're like, I'm out. I can't do it. And so I think it's a real unfortunate conundrum that we get caught in wanting to have these opportunities for people to move here, young people to move here and stay and be a part of our community, but the reality of what that looks like for them is not super encouraging.
No.
So that's how I think I see it the most these days, through the people that I work with.
Yeah, and the film,
Outside of my own
there's
situation.
several executive directors of nonprofits that cannot afford to live here, and or thanks to a great rental situation that you can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And there's been people who've come into the community with leadership positions and have turned around and left because they can't find housing. And that desire to own a home is significant enough that they choose to go to a different community because it's going to be more affordable to do that somewhere else. And so partners I've worked with over the course of the last 10 years, we've definitely seen people come and go, and that's a big part of it too. So
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's exactly why we're telling this documentary and producing this documentary, A Home in Paradise. Well, thank you, Caleb Vold, Sydney Jackson, Andrea Early Cohen, for being here, for playing
Absolutely.
music on our show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been an honor. I'd also like to thank K-Hen for recording all the music for the film and being such great community partners.
Thanks, Mark.
Yay. Mark's been great. So I'm Julie Jackson, the Chaffey County Film Commissioner and director and producer of A Home in Paradise, upcoming documentary film on the housing crisis in Chaffey County that will be premiering on May 10th at the Salida Film Festival. This film was generously funded by the Colorado Department of Public Health, Office of Health Equity, and is a wonderful part of the We Are Chaffey program. For more information and to learn how you can watch the film, please visit www.wearechaffey.org. Thank you.
So, K-Hen has reached out to other community radio stations around the state, and we're going to try and pump up the volume on this film and maybe get you invited to a few screenings here or there. We'll see how that works out, and I'll definitely be in touch with you. It's really great having you folks in the studio. It
Thanks,
really
Mark.
is.
Thank you.
So KN is made possible through our sustaining members and Monarch Mountain, Salida's independent and local ski resort. Have questions or want to buy a season pass or merch? Monarch Mountain has an outpost store located right downtown at 123 North F Street. For more information, their website is skimonarch.com, or you can call 719-530-5000. KN is also made possible in part by Renewable Energy Outfitters, Salida's neighborhood solar company. Renewable Energy Outfitters offers grid tie, battery backup, and off-grid solar energy. Renewable Energy Outfitters, supplying solar energy since 2008. More information available on their website at reosolar.com. Well, thanks for listening, folks. I'm going to turn it back over to Big Bird, and thanks for being here.
We danced alone and shed our tears. Then when I saw you,
it's 1:50 that I was supposed to come in, so that's why I came in and did
this
that.